Welcome back to another super awesome mix. My name is Matt Sidhom. Remember, as we go through our mix today, you can create your own mixtape at my.superawesomemix.com. Start for free and share it on any streaming platform. My guest today is a writer, artist, songwriter, publisher, and entrepreneur. He can help you take your ideas and turn them into actions. His website is greimatters.com. That's GREI matters.com. His most recent novel is called Before Closure, and it was named Insightful LGBTQ Perspective at the 2026 Midwest Book Awards. I just finished it and I loved it. Please welcome Shadley Grei to Super Awesome Mix. Hi, Shadley.
Hi, good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic.
I'm figuring out where my microphone stands. So just give me just once. I feel like I have to stand very still. I'm trying a new sound system for this. So,
okay, good. Well, happy to be the guinea pig for this new sound system. Well, man, I think I sent you a note last night, but like I just finished the book and I really enjoyed it. Like it just kind of like drew me in right from the beginning, and I was like. And there's like multiple storylines in it, and I was kind of enthralled by all three. And I think you said in the epilogue that it's kind of started as a screenplay, which kind of made sense when I was done, because it really did feel almost like I was, you know, in your head when you're reading, you kind of get a picture of what's going on, and it was like I was like watching a movie because we kept kind of shifting through storylines. So I don't know. Talk about the new book, and I don't know what inspired you to put that together.
Yes, it is. It did start as a screenplay 15 years ago. And it started, I'm in Des Moines, Iowa. And at that time at one time there was like the best film tax incentives in the country to come and shoot film, but it only lasted like a year before it imploded because of bad management, and it was just a total mess. But for a minute there, we just had like, you know, Susan Sarandon's at the grocery store, and, you know, it was just like a huge, I think we had like 13 films shooting one summer. Like it was insane. Like it just exploded.
Yeah.
But then it went away. And then when I moved to LA, I wanted to write something that I thought I could pitch to hopefully help regenerate interest in Central Iowa and film. And, what I wanted to do was write a story that showcased Central Iowa in a way that's not seen on film. Like it's always, you know, cornfields and tornadoes. And like if you see Iowa on film, it is just like, of course I ended up writing about a farmer, but that's, you know, we'll get there. but I wrote it as a screenplay. I wrote it for locations I knew I could get for free. So it was constantly just like I write like a producer. So it was like, and the main place is in a coffee shop that was just kind of like my saving grace. There was a true heartbreak that inspired the young man's or the son's storyline in the script is very much inspired by my own heartbreak.
Okay.
And in recovery, we'll call it recovery of that, I ended up hanging out at this coffee shop that was walking distance from my house. And it was just this amazing, welcoming, LGBT friendly. It was the first place that I ever did an art exhibit of my paintings. It was the first place I sang in public. And it was just became very important to my, you know, recovery in that chapter of my life. And so when I got to writing the story, I was like, oh, I'm going to set it there. Because I literally called them. I was like, if I make a movie there, can I use your location for free? They're like, okay. So that's why I started the story there. And then just I was like, no, I want to show, like, we have the biggest skywalk system in our downtown in the country. And we have an incredible farmers market, and we have a very robust LGBTQ community and the East Village, which is very arty and funky, and you never see that. I mean, like when they were shooting here, they were using our downtown for Austin. They were using our downtown for parts of Manhattan, you know, so it was like no one knew when they saw that. They're like, oh, they're in Austin. It's like, no, they're in Des Moines. Like no one knew. So I wanted to write something that would showcase it in a different way. It did well as a screenplay, and it started getting some traction, but just kind of fell apart. And then at the beginning of the pandemic, I came back to Iowa to take care of my mom. And I needed something to do at the end of the day because caretaking is relentless. And so I dusted it off and decided to try my hand at turning it into a novel. And it like came out really fast. Like it's literally like the most robust outline to have a screenplay. And then it's like the reverse of someone trying to adapt a novel into a film. It's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
oh, I get to like make this bigger. Like I get to go deeper into how they're feeling. I get to more flashbacks, more, details about what they're looking at. So I wrote the first draft really fast, and then I kind of sat on it for 5 years. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I got to keep tweaking. I now I have to get an agent. Now I have to, and then I started my own publishing company because my job is a business ghostwriter, and so I was publishing books for other people that are working in marketing and the business space. I published a memoir earlier this year, and I was like, oh shit, like I'm out of excuses. Like, no, like literally.
Right. You have an outlet now. Like there's not like
I'm
I can't get anybody to
other
do
people.
this.
Yeah. I now know how to do this. I have everything set up. All I have to do, and there's no expectation on my book because it's like no one's expecting me to make it a bestseller. It's like I just want it off my plate. Like I want it out in the world. And so I published it on my birthday last year. I was just like, okay, that's it. We're just going to put it out on my birthday. And
that is awesome.
So yeah, I published it, and then it took me I think it took like a full day before I could read a review that wasn't friends or family. Like the first like real review. I was like, oh my God. And so I think it took 2 cocktails and all day before I could read it. And then it was good. And I was like, oh, okay. Like to have the first review be good that wasn't friends or family is like, I don't care what anyone else says, just like I needed the single validation from a stranger that the story I wanted to share.
Isn't that funny? Yeah, we've had a similar experience with the podcast because the first time we got like a review where people were like, hey, this isn't bad. We were like, yes, that it wasn't somebody that we could tie to and be like, no, I went to college with that guy or that's my wife or whatever. Right. Like, it's,
So
that's great.
And then it was just a matter of starting to, market it and get it out there. And I did get honored by Midwest Book Awards, which is very cool. And so, it's been fantastic to have it out there and to have, people read it and tell me what they think. And I did a couple speaking engagements. I'm doing another one in September. So it's a weird thing to kind of shift from the writing, which is very introspective and very, what's the word? Like, oh my God, I'm totally blanking on the word I want, but like, to have to like sell and, introvert versus extrovert. Like you have to put on a completely different
where
hat.
Now it's like you're trying to tell people how great it is. Whereas before you're sort of, like you said, it's a personal story and you're kind of looking into your and re-exploring feelings and stuff. And now you got to be like, you want to read this book, and it's like, well, okay.
I'm amazing. You should read that. And so like when you want to
read about my heartbreak, right?
Yeah. So it's just a weird hat to put on. And that is one of the reasons that having a publisher, like having someone separate that's helping like market it for you, like to have someone else say, you should read this book. I think it's, instead of being the person like, support me. If it's like, I found someone that I think you should support, like it's always helpful to have
for sure
outside help. So
that's why we love, bringing folks like you on the podcast so we can kind of be that mouthpiece for you and be like, no, it's a fantastic book. Everybody go read it. It's really good. I hope it does become a movie at some point because I have like a whole image in my head of how that works. And I'm not going to spoil the ending or anything in it, but I mean, it wraps up pretty nicely. And it just sucked. I don't know. I think it's a testament in that it just sucked me in from the beginning. And I really was vested in like everyone's storylines to see how you were going to resolve it. And it wasn't like, I don't know. It just, I guess it was a little unexpected. I had all these different ways it could have ended in my head and then it resolved and it was satisfactory, which I think is the best you could hope for from an ending, that you're not sitting there going, well, that's not okay. I didn't want that to happen. It's like, no, you did a great job.
Yeah.
I
the screenplay has the screenplay does not have the final scene. So, it's very much kind of left with the audience wondering. So when I wrote the book, I was like, well, that just feels mean. Like that just feels like, and it felt unresolved. For some reason, it made sense in the script, but in the book, it was like, more resolution. And I liked the bookend of what happens in the opening scene and the final scene. So you get more closure, literally. It's right there in the title.
Yes, and that was a nice surprise because I actually thought the book was ending when, at the end of that last chapter, and then you get that last, and I was like, oh, wait, hold on. Okay, let me keep reading.
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of a segue into the music because not to just shift gears and take over and be like, let's get to why we're
please
here.
Take over.
There is because of the coffee shop that I was talking about, like when I started thinking about this list, this mixtape, I really focused on a lot of the music that I discovered while I was there and people that became friends of mine. And so that's why a lot of the music is like singer-songwriter, female singer-songwriter, girls with guitars that are traveling around the country. I met so many of them while I was at that coffee shop, which was called Ritual Cafe. It's changed in the book. Like I changed a lot of the location names. It's Fuel Injector which made me laugh
Fuel
out loud
Injector.
when it popped in my head. I was like, oh my God, that makes sense. Because it used to be it's an adapted garage that's now a coffee shop, which is true.
Yeah.
Like all the description is true. I just changed the name. And so,
but totally believable coffee shop name. I was like, yeah, Fuel Injector. Okay, I could see a coffee shop being called that. And it's funny because I think I listened to your mix and I hadn't gotten too far into the book when I started that. And the first note I had was like, this has got such a cool like coffee house sort of feel to it. And so once I got into the book, I was like, oh, he did a really good job here. So yeah, let's get into it. Track one is When You Left by Melissa Ferrick.
Yes. The reason I picked this song, not only the song is my favorite song, the first song I think of when I think of Melissa Ferrick, but also Melissa Ferrick is the first CD I ever bought. So like her first album, which is the album before the one that this song is on, but she was like my very first CD I ever bought. And so I just feel like that's hilarious that I would even know that. I mean, a lot of people do. And it's always, for a lot of people, it's like, I bought the Beatles or I bought Melissa Ferrick, who's this.
Well, some people it's like NSYNC or something, right? Like it's not, right. You're giving people too much credit with the Beatles, right?
Yeah. So we'll just say more mainstream or more popular or more obvious. I guess there's usually a more obvious. Yes. And mine was Melissa Ferrick. And she's like again, a female singer-songwriter. And it was a genre I really fell in love with. And she, and then I've met her a few times, but this song in particular, I just think is so heartbreaking. Like it's so devastating because it is about like, I mean, there's just so much imagery in it that's so beautiful. It's so poetic as far as like, I'm holding the doorknob, which was the last doorknob you held. And, that kind of, and so much of, not to go too much into the book, but so much of the story is about people in transition in and out of relationships and what heartbreak can do to people and the different ways that we get heartbroken and old heartbreak and new heartbreak and confusion over the risk of daring to try again and all of that. So it was a song. I wanted to start this list with her because she was my first CD and she also represents the genre that the rest of the songs very much tie to. There's a couple that aren't, but for the most part, she was like my gateway drug for, the female singer-songwriter in coffee shops. And so I saw her in New York and I've seen her in LA and I saw her here in Des Moines. And so her music is very important to like my growing up, I guess. So,
yeah. And I think the song fits your book perfectly because there's a lot of leaving in your book, right? Like, and so when you left and then there's heartbreak. And I think the lyric that stood out to me is when she says, I never asked for love. I just asked for a friend.
Yeah.
And like, that's, and like one very relatable line, I think for a lot of people, but also when I think about the characters in your novel too, it's also like, man, that right. kind of hits for a few of the different relationships you see in there. So yeah, I thought it was a great choice.
Yeah, she's extraordinary. So
track 2, we've got Slow Down by Rachael Sage.
Now Rachel's probably like the queen of my indie singer-songwriters. Like she's very much, in many ways, she's very much tied to a lot of the story. She's also, this song is actually mentioned in the book, which is why I included this track. Like this specific song is mentioned in the book. But she was actually, I discovered her with the relationship that broke my heart. So like and it was this album that he and I discovered together when we were living in Santa Monica. And so she became a little bit of a soundtrack to our relationship. And we were actually like breaking up when we saw her the last time together. And so, we were literally like in the process. I was back home to move out, and we're like, let's go see Rachel. Why not? I mean, that just feels like but Rachel has stayed and also became a friend of mine. So one of the things that I did was with that coffee shop that I was talking about, I started interviewing some of the singer songwriters, and I made like a little like magazine, not even a magazine, but like just I wanted to help promote them. So I interviewed a lot of them, and I had them printed, and they were sitting on the coffee shop table. So when people came in, they'd be like, oh, who's coming? And this would have been like 20 years ago. So it was like a little bit massive social media, but so I wanted to interview them. And so I got to open for her at one point. And so, she's just, her music is incredibly important to me, as far as she just, like, so much of the soundtracks of my life have Rachel Sage in them at some point. So that's this song in particular. I love this song, and then it's also mentioned in the book, so it felt important to include it in the soundtrack. So.
Yeah, for sure. No, this is a good one. I love it's also a good reminder to slow down, but I think the lyric that stuck out for me here is gonna ask time to marry me. Right. Because so often, like that's what happens is you're trying to slow down, but I see people get into like new relationships or new things just immediately. And so I love the concept of like, go ahead and marry time and just sort of stick with a little bit of time there for a little bit and see how that feels, because that could be a really nice reset for people.
Right. Yeah. And she's incredibly poetic and prolific. So she has, I think, 13 albums at this point, and writes poetry that she posts all the time. And she's just a extraordinary artist, and very much, she has her own record label. And so she has other artists, not just herself. So she's just, for that, she's very well known. If people know the singer-songwriter universe, she's kind of like one of the queens, I guess. So she's amazing.
All right, this next one's a cover song that most people will know, but may not know this version. This is You Oughta Know by Duomo and Tomas, Peiere, Serrate. I think I got that right. I don't know.
Well, Alanis is still doing the vocal, but it is like, the reason I picked this one is, this version of it is, again, this song is in the novel. The son, the male character, sings it a cappella in the coffee shop. It's the breaking point for him in some ways. And he sings this in the coffee shop a cappella. So I wanted to find a version of this song that was not the rock version, that felt close to what it might sound like in a coffee shop. And it's actually inspired because the first time I heard anything like this was when Alanis did it at the 96 Grammys. And it's just like a stripped down, she's seated, and she just does a ballad version of the song at the 96 Grammys. And that's not, the reason I picked this version is that version is not available on Spotify. And so I wanted to, like, be mindful of the audience and the potential playlist. But I love when you kind of strip away the anger and it feels more introspective and devastating. And it's not more interesting, but it just changes the feeling when you're just focusing on the words and you're focusing on the melancholy of heartbreak instead of the anger. And so, obviously one of the biggest songs of all time, but to strip it down and hear it in a way that would make sense in a coffee shop. And actually, rumor is that Alanis, like, before that album, she was on tour when that album was releasing. And so, like, she played one of the tiny coffee shops, not the one that I write about, but another one here in Des Moines, that she played before that album, like, in support of that album before it blew up. Like, she was in some, like, 30-person on a
Yeah.
Tuesday coffee shop singing, introducing that album here in Des Moines. And then obviously it became what it did. And I don't think she's ever been back to Des Moines. So, yes. I don't think she has. But anyway, so that's another album that I, like a lot of people, was very important. But there's something also about what I like about her singing is that it's so unvarnished or unvarnished. Like it's just kind of rough and raw, and it feels a little bit
there's no like
emotional.
auto tune or anything
Right.
with her voice. Like it really is her voice with, whatever that comes with it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this one just because I love it when there is a song that's, and I don't know if you get a more popular song than this one, right? Like massive hit. This was one of the best selling albums of all time. But it's like when you can do it in a way that is different and makes you think differently about a song, I always think that's really impressive just because it's so well known. Like how do you rebrand that in some way, shape, or form? And I think
and as the artist,
that's
do
right.
it. Like it's one thing to have like Tori Amos is famous for doing like insane covers that you're like, oh my God, how did she do that? But to be the artist that originated the song, to be like, let me reintroduce the same story in a different way. Or, it's like, it's interesting to hear the same voice tell you the same story in a completely different way. So
Springsteen's done that with Born in the USA, because people always mistakenly think it's some, national anthem or something, and they sort of overlook the message. And so he has released versions and done it in concert in a very stripped down way to kind of force people to be like, no, this is not necessarily a positive thing.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Track 4. This was a cool one. This is Protest Song by Eric Himan.
Eric is, again, I met him through the coffee house circuit. The reason I picked this song is I covered this song on the stage of Ritual Cafe. So I got to sing this particular song there. And so it just felt like the right one to include, as far as I knew I wanted to include Eric because I love his music and I like him a lot as a person. But this song in particular, and there is something, obviously it's an aggressive protest song. It is like, it's a fuck you to, like the establishment, or like, don't stop judging me. It's a very aggressive, like, takedown. It is a protest song in a very like aggressive way.
It is. But that's what I loved about it. I think so often, and you see this in media a lot, is that you'll see someone come out and it's this very like sheepish sort of scene in a movie, and they're just praying that someone will accept them. Right. And I like how in this one he's like, this is who I am. Like, just deal with it. I'm not going to sit here and apologize for it. So I did appreciate that, and that it's just the complete opposite of what you so often see when someone is declaring that they're gay or whatever they are, right? Like it's usually in this, please, is that okay with you? Sort of way. And like Carey's like, I don't care what you think. Like, this is who I am.
And it's there. A lot of his music isn't that. Like, a lot of his music is like a softer, or he has a couple songs that are more like rock aggressive, but this is really the most in your face rage song that he has that I can think of. So I loved, and singing this song, it just felt amazing. So, and we had like, it's one of those coffee shops that has like the rolling doors that were garages, so they were open. And I'm belting out this song that's like echoing downtown, and it is full of like in your face and aggressive and cursing, and I'm not going to be denied. And so to be able to just like scream it at the town that I grew up here, and so I didn't always feel safe here. Like, as a young gay person, I couldn't wait to leave. I didn't feel like I fit. I felt very like lost here. And so it felt amazing to be kind of discovering my voice here at the same time. And this song was part of that experience.
Well, and I think it's cool. You said this earlier about the scene in Des Moines and what people maybe have in their minds about what Des
Hmm.
Moines is. And so it's
Hmm.
cool that you've gotten to move back there and build a life there and
Yeah.
feel accepted there, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
Track 5, this is You're Free by Edie, Carey.
I picked this song for a little bit of a selfish reason, because if anyone is interested and wants to check it out, I made the lyric video. So if you go
Oh,
on YouTube, I created the lyric video. Edie is a friend of mine, and she's just so, her music can be so devastating and heartbreaking, but she's one of the funniest, most delightful people I know. Like, I just like adore her, and she's so much fun. And so but yeah, her music can be a little like, oh my god, like a little heavy, and she doesn't shy away from heartbreak and themes, and darker themes. And this song is also fits the themes that happen in the book, which are about letting go, trying to, the struggle to let go and make peace with a choice or reality that you can't control. Like, it's someone else's. I have to let this go, and by letting you go, I let myself go, kind of stuff. So.
yeah, and I think this song did a great job of just sort of telling that story of a relationship where you walk away and you both kind of know it's not working, but neither one of, like you said, neither one of them wants to let go, or one side doesn't want to let go, even though
Right.
it's kind of clear deep down inside of each of you and probably to all
Mhm.
your friends that it's just not, this
Right.
isn't where it should be.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love I love Edie, and I really love this song. This is on her most recent album, and um yeah, or not her, I guess she did a duets album recently, but this is her most recent solo album. So I love the song, and I reached out to her and asked if I was literally like learning this, as using this as like a tool to learn how to make lyric videos.
Hmm.
And so I was like, wait, I should just ask her if I can publish this. So,
Yeah.
it's that's how it came to be. Yeah.
All right, track 6, this is Or Anyway by Martha Berner.
Oh God, Martha is another. I met her outside Ritual Cafe on the sidewalk. Like, she was in town. She was opening for Rachel Sage, and um, it's just one of those. You meet some people and you're just like, damn, like, you just immediately, you just love them. Like, you're just
Yeah.
like, oh my God, it has nothing to do with your music. You want to leave? Do you want to go like get lunch
Do
or
we just
something?
hang
Like, it's
out?
just like, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, she's, and I think I've only seen her a couple times since in the last 20 years, but she just stands out as someone that's personality. And there's something about when you're in her orbit, you're just like, oh my God, like it feels like greatness. It just feels, but
Yeah.
like not like in a um audacious way. It just feels like, man, you are near someone cool. Like, it just kind of radiates off of her that she's hilarious and really cool voice. I love her singing voice. She has such a kind of I guess I'm going to say dirty voice, and by that I mean a little bit like Alanis, in that it's not
Yeah.
polished. It's not. She's not like a classically trained. She doesn't have like,
Right. Didn't
but
didn't grow up singing in the church choir necessarily, right?
yeah, yeah, but her voice is just so extraordinary. And I think because there's so much emotion in how she sings, that it kind of, like her personality, just radiates. You just feel like if you're around her and she's having a bad day, ooh, you're gonna know it, and we're gonna talk about it. Like, so this song fit. Like, I was going through the album this is on, and this song is from the album when I would have met her, and so it was. I was just, in this song in particular is just kind of the one that stood out as far as the story, and the way that she sounds on the song feels like I could hear this playing as the
Hmm.
soundtrack, like in some of the scenes, like when the dad is driving, or like some of,
Yeah.
it just felt so melancholy, and
Well, I thought of Jules in the novel with this book,
Yeah.
because there's this pleading a little bit but then you're right, her voice gives it a little bit of like this. There's a strength behind it too. So there is this kind of
Right.
emotional pleading, but there's also this strength.
Right.
And so I thought of the Jules character because I feel like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where she's at. She's kind
Right.
of in this limbo, and she's such a strong woman, but also like kind of
Yeah.
needs these other people, and she has a hard time accepting that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, she would, I guess Martha would definitely be like the soundtrack for Jules. If each of them was to be given an artist, she would be probably she would be Jules, I guess. Yeah.
All right, track 7. This is Songs by Coyote Grace.
So I was kind of directed by what Spotify had available for this song, because this is the only song Spotify has by them. So
oh wow, okay.
But they have like 4 albums, and it turned out that this song, once I really got into and started listening to, definitely worked. But they are another group that I discovered at Ritual Cafe, and Joe, who is the lead singer, is trans, and his partner at the time, or music partner at the time, was Ingrid, and I did meet them at Ritual, and their music, another just extraordinary cool voice that I love the way his he now has a solo album, and they have since disbanded, and they're doing solo things now, but I really love their sound, and they did things with like standing bass and guitar, and it was sometimes, that's when I saw them, it was just the two of them, and she's on standing bass and he's playing guitar, and that was it. And just I think at the time, 20 years ago, there wasn't a lot of trans discussion, and so to like be there, and like I remember my niece being there, who at the time would have been like 12 and 13, and he talks about being trans, so it felt like so like important to have not only an Iowa audience, but a young audience, and just see this amazing artist and be like, wait, what is happening? Like trying to wrap your head around the reality of like what that means, and that it means nothing. Ultimately, it just means acceptance, and letting people be who they are, and being blown away by the artistry, because he's such an extraordinary singer and songwriter. And I would imagine, not to go on too much of a tangent, but like to be someone whose music means so much and then go through the transition, like what that can do to your voice. Like there had to be the risk of like, I may never be able to sing again because of what the hormones and everything can do to your body. Like potentially have to say goodbye to music in order to become yourself, you know? Like,
well, there was an artist in the early 2000s, Teddy Geiger, who published music as a man, as he was then, right? And he's since transitioned, and I don't know if he's doing the same songs now, or if he's producing any new music. But to your point about sort of sacrificing that, it's like he was kind of a, you know, up and coming, like sort of big artist or whatever. He was even in some movie with Dwight from The Office and all this. But it's like, it just, I remember checking in a couple of years ago, like, oh, I wonder if he has any new music. And it's like, oh, like he's now, okay, a woman, and this is his life now. So but no, I mean, like you said, it's like kind of gave it up for something more important to him, for sure.
Yeah. But then it turned out that this song,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, this song actually works. Like it's not just I wanted it turns out that the one song that was available would actually work as a song I might have chosen, because of what they talk about in the song. It's such a cool song, and it's such a great showcase for them as a band, but especially his voice. And I like, it's very similar. It kind of feels a little bit similar to the Edie Carey song, in that, you know, You Get Free, We Is All I Know. You know, it feels like a companion song to that one, but I wanted to include them as a band, and then wanted something on Spotify so it could be easily shared. And then it turned out that the one song that was available was kind of the perfect fit.
Yeah. No, and I love the harmonies on this one, and I love how this one's written. That at first it's almost like there will be no songs without you, right? And then it
Mhm.
just evolves into no, there will be songs,
Yeah,
that it'll just be different. Just like we
yeah,
all kind of have to. It's that
yeah,
acceptance again of just like
right, yeah,
I am going to have a life after this. It's just going to be different, and that's kind of what I have to
yeah,
face. Yeah,
yeah, for sure. So just a very, again, a part of, I guess, part of what I was thinking about when I was doing this was like, who do I want to spotlight that I think more
yeah,
people should know about? And it would have been very easy for me to include a lot of top 40, or and I know that I probably sent you 25 songs originally, but and a lot of them were more mainstream. But I was like, no, I really want to focus on, if I can share this spot, like this moment, this conversation
yeah.
with people, I want it to be the artist I wish more people knew about. And Coyote Grace is definitely one
Well,
of
and
them.
I thought was so cool with so many of these artists. I mean, I grew up, I was in high school and college in the 90s. And so
Uh-huh.
there were a lot of songs in here that were from the 90s. And
Yeah,
they have that feel to it. So if you're like
yeah.
a 90s music fan,
Oh, yeah.
they do have that sort of feel. But it was
Right.
artists that I hadn't heard before. So I think you did a great job there of just
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of spotlighting stuff that I'm like, oh, I don't know this artist, but I do just love the sound. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah.
Speaking of, track 8 here is God Damn and Just Do It by
Oh my
Melineh
God.
Kurdian.
She is another one. Just, and this song, when you listen to it, you can't help but just be like, bopping along. Like, it's just such a, like, I was gonna I sound so old. It's such a knee slapper. It's just, you just like, it just, I'm just
That's your
picturing.
Midwesterner coming
Yeah,
out right
yeah.
there,
I was
right? Yeah.
picturing my mom. Like, I just had this very clear image of my mom. Like, my mom used to go with me to this coffee shop, and I could imagine her, and she would, like, be sitting and tapping her knee as she's like
Yeah.
bopping along to the song. And I just, and also a lot of the songs that I have on here are more melancholy, are a little bit slower, and so I wanted to find something that had a little bit of, like, what I want to say, like, thump to it, I guess.
Yeah.
So, she's just someone, and watching her perform, I saw her perform this, and it's just such a, like, there's something bawdy about it. I mean, it's right there in the name. Like, it just feels
Sure.
kind of like aggressive, but it, like, the concept of it is just like, ugh, fine, let's just do this,
Yeah, the frustration. The frustration is amazing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I love this song, and it felt like a great way to showcase or introduce her to people that might not know her. And she has a few other albums, but she's incredibly cool also. But this song, it's the first one I think of when I think of her.
Yeah, and I think it fits the novel perfectly because I think a few of the characters there's a few characters that have a moment of high frustration like this
Right,
throughout the
yeah,
story.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
think it works really well.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, all right, track 9. This is Push Pull by Lucas Mire.
Yes, he's actually a friend of Edie Carey's, and that might be how I was first introduced to his music. We have since become Facebook friends. I've never met him in person, but
Well, that
his
means you're best friends. That means you're
oh,
friends on
okay, okay,
Facebook.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, this album came out about that same time. I think this album maybe came out in 2005. And another one that, this has more of like the production on this. It's not that it's more produced, but it feels more like early everything but the girl. Like, there is more, like,
Oh yeah.
it has more, like, rhythmic, or it has more production, for lack of a better word, to it, as far as, like,
Yeah.
rhythms and beats. And um but it's acoustic bass, but then it's produced in a way that does feel a little bit like everything but the girl, like, some of their early music, where they were just starting to, like, weave in some beats. And
Yeah.
so and this song felt, I mean, push pull, it's just such a, I feel the push and the pull like I never thought I would. Nothing's ever enough. Come on and love, love, love. Like, it's just like, oh God. And it feels like that edge of when you're like, I don't want to fall in love again, but God damn it, You're just like, they're like, like, but I do. Yeah, I do. But do I? But oh God, like this is going to take a lot out of me. Is it going to be worth the risk? And so, it is the push pull of like, when do you decide that it's okay to like let go and try again? And you're never going to be fully ready. If you're coming out of heartbreak, you're never going to fully trust that the next one is the right one. So, just someone whose music was a big part of that chapter. Like he never toured here, so I haven't seen him live, but I have his music. I own all of his albums, and he only records like, I don't think he's recorded an album in several years, but he has a couple that are fantastic, and this was the first album where I was introduced to him.
This one got me thinking about the Frankie character, because I think he has so many push-pull moments in the book with all these different relationships he's navigating and sort of a search for the truth of like what's going on, who's telling him the truth, and all of that. So I thought this was perfect for the book.
I was just looking at the lyrics again, and it's two sides to everything. Feel them tug at my sleeve. One says, "Hey, come with me," and the other says, "Please." Like just that feeling of like, literally like the tug of like, oh God, like you want to stay where you are because you know it, even though you might be miserable. It's like, well, at least I understand my misery. Like I understand what I'm sitting in. I don't want to risk. You certainly don't want to risk like being happy because it might fall apart. Like I would rather just stay.
Yeah.
Wouldn't I rather just stay in what I know than possibly risk heartbreak? Because everyone's like, or the argument is against trusting that maybe it's going to be good. It's always like, I'm sure it's going to fall apart because we're wired to be pessimistic because it's so
and it's easy to be pessimistic, right? Because of that wiring. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So,
all right, track 10. This is Almost by Cheryl Wheeler.
One of the saddest songs that exist. Like this is such a devastating. I saw, and part of it is again tied to that relationship. Like we saw Cheryl right before we were leaving LA, and we came back, and that's when we broke up. And so this song is another one that it's probably the saddest song that's on here, as far as because of what it is all about. Like, I'm almost good enough for you. We almost got this right. We all, like realizing, but we didn't, just like, just, it's incredibly devastating. And she, another very human voice. Like it just kind of feels like you're sitting with, at the time she felt old, but now I'm probably older than she was when she sang it, when I heard her sing it. But, just like sitting with this woman who's contemplating how her relationship fell apart. And man, I tried really hard, or we both tried really hard. And it just, almost there. God, like, and that's worse than it being obvious. Like when it's like, okay,
when it's just bad and toxic, like that's right. Just okay, you can walk away.
But when it circles, maybe, when it's circling, like maybe if we do just a tiny bit more work, and then but when it's just obvious that's, or sometimes that's not obvious. Like that's the hardest relationship, is when you're almost, but it doesn't feel bad. It just doesn't feel right. It's like so anyway, this one is very sad.
No, it is, but it's also so beautiful sounding, like just her and the piano and her voice. And I just love the way it's written and the different uses of the word almost, and how she weaves it into different phrases. I mean, it's just such a fantastic song, but yes, extremely sad. So let's not listen to this one too often, but definitely give it a listen to appreciate it. All right. Yeah. Track 11. This is Gentleman Who Fell by Milla.
Oh my God. Do you know this song? Are you familiar with this song?
I'm not familiar with the song, but when I looked it up and realized it was the actress Milla Jovovich, I was like, oh my God. And it was like early 90s, before she was like a big thing.
Yeah. And I think this might be in my top 10 favorite songs of all time. Like there's something about it. when it came out, I had never heard anything like it. You know, it just like, it's a pop song that starts with violins, and it's like, what? It's kind of like early Florence and the Machine. You know, it's just like, what is this? And then her voice is so cool, and also it's like someone that at that time there were a lot of, you know, like Eddie Murphy released an album, Bruce Willis released an album. You know, like there were a lot of, you know, like
Don Johnson had a big hit. Heartbeat.
Yeah, like,
okay, sure.
Right. And so there was like this time when there, and weirdly, now that we're saying that, it's like, were they all men? Like, I don't know any other like actresses that were like,
let's see,
that like, but now we, you know,
Vicki Lawrence. Remember Mama's Family? She did. She did Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia. She did that one. Yeah.
So I think with this song, it probably would have been easier to do something that felt more mainstream, that felt more poppy, that felt like I'm going to do. I don't know who would have been like the Britney of the time, like, you know, like to do something that felt like very mainstream and very simple, and she instead decided to do this very weird. It's not even weird, like it's a gorgeous song, but it didn't really fit anything else that was on at the time.
Yeah, because it's like you think about around this time, it was like like Whitney Houston was probably the biggest like female artist, and then it's right before Alanis Morissette kind of hits, and so it's like, where does she fit in that range? And it's like she doesn't, you know.
And there's also I think it's only available on some bootleg CD somewhere. There's just a piano version of this where she's just sitting at a piano doing this as a ballad, and it's unreal. You can probably find it on YouTube or something, but it's so it just, again, similar, since we just talked about Alanis, like it was to hear it in a completely different way where it's just focusing on the storytelling, but it is also just it's, I always think about this song. Like if you think of, if someone were to ask me like immediately, like name 5 songs, I'm going to say the song, because I just think it's so, and maybe it was just the way it like punched me when it came out, and it never really left because it was so different and so unexpected, and an actor that I didn't have too many feelings about, and I was like, what, you know, like what is, who, you know, so, you know, I hardly knew her. And
I mean, The Fifth Element is like such a fantastic movie, right? But she's hardly even speaking in that. She's just sort of this like badass superhero woman, right? And like that's probably her biggest role. But this was even before that. Like she was just this crazy talented woman, I guess.
And that I don't think she's released an album since. I think she did this one album, and I was like, okay, well, I did that. But it's just such a, I love this song. I couldn't make a playlist. I think it's probably on every playlist I had at the time. Like every Burn CD I have at the time, I know this is on there, you know, so I love. But anyway, since we were talking about lyrics, just, you know, the whole thing is about the gentleman who fell before the court and is like, what am I doing here? Like, what's in store for us now? I don't know how, you know. It's like maybe he's falling down in front of someone that he loves, and he's like, wait, do I love you? Do we love each other?
Right.
I don't know how to live for you. I don't know how to trust you. I don't know how to love you. Like those are literally the lyrics. So what's in store for us now? Like it's just so,
All right, track 12. This is What I Might Do by Ben Pearce.
Well, there's a scene in the book where Frankie is at a dance club. And so I was trying to think about what song would fit there. And I became obsessed with this song a couple years ago. It just was like, I think it just like, we were driving in Los Angeles and it just kind of showed up on Sirius.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, where's my phone? I have to know what this is. Like, you know, I had to like, what is this? And I could not get out of the car until I bought it. And I just, just love how this song makes me feel. Like I can't sit still with this song. I love, and I could just imagine a cool, even dancier remix of this if I were to do it in the have it in the soundtrack and make the film and all of those magical
Right,
things.
right.
But
Yeah.
I just, and it's such like I'm yanking you back at your place, every string attached, getting out of line. Like there's just so much that felt, and where it happens in the book, it just feels like, oh, yeah.
Yes.
like this.
No, it works really well. Yeah, in the context of the book, I agree.
Yeah, so I just really love. This is one of the songs. This is on my running playlist. I'm just like, if I need to wake up, I will turn on this song. I should have played it this morning, I guess.
I think you're doing great. You're doing great. Okay. All right. All right. Well, you get a track 13. Okay. This is Rome by Lijie.
Oh my God. This song is one. I don't think it wouldn't have been serious. I don't know what it was. And it would have been like pre-Spotify, but it would have been like one of the streaming services where you could just listen to random music. And I was doing like data entry at a bank on weekends and with my headphones on. And I don't know where it would have been, but this song, like, I think I just like the minute it started and she started singing, I was just still. It's like, what is this? it just felt like, how is this woman not incredibly famous? Like, I just think her voice and the story of this song and the emotion in the song, and there's so much. Another possibly top 10 favorite song. I think about this song a lot. You know, if I'm in that kind of like mood where I need to go for a drive as the sun is setting and the windows are down, and you know, it's like it feels so cinematic and so like I can just breathe this song. Like I know exactly how it feels like to sit in this story. And it also fits. And I could imagine this playing a little bit or like over the end credits if I had my film. Like it feels very much like not to say too much, but the Mother song. Like it feels like
for sure.
I just really I love this song when I think about when I do a lot of writing, and when this is always like, how can I wedge this song in? Like if I can't imagine that I would ever get to make a movie and choose the soundtrack and this song would not find its way on. Like I love this song so much. I think it's so cool. And there's a line when she sings it that is, it just gets me every time. As far as I'm looking at the lyrics, I'm trying to remember. There's just a way that she says one line. And I'm not remembering. I may be naive, but not too proud to leave. Like there's just a lot of I don't know if that's there's one moment where she hits this note or says it in a particular way that I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna need a minute, because so she's just and it feels like it would be the coda to this. It would play over the final credits to this
final credits story. I think it's perfect. It reminds me, because just piano and vocals reminded me, you know, like Cheryl Wheeler. Like it's very like just beautiful, and that it's so simple, but it's a little bit in a lower key, so it kind of takes on a different emotional to it, or emotional feel to it. But this is what I love about this song, is that I think you can almost get the emotion even without the lyrics in it, right? Like, and I love her voice, but I think I always point that out because I think it's impressive with songs when they do such a good job with both the music and lyrics, that you can kind of strip away one of them and it's like, oh, this still works. This still delivers the same message. And I think this falls into that category. So
it's beautiful piano playing. Like it's a beautiful, I hadn't thought about it as an instrumental, but yes, it's such a, it just starts. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. You know, like I just like, hey, you know, it's like I'm gonna be sitting still for the next 4 minutes because, you know, I just love it. I love this, and this has been very cool. I like so many of these artists. This has been a little bit like, I've had this list for a long time, but it's like, oh, to re-listen to it and talk about it, and I've never talked about these artists like this, so it's been very cool.
That's awesome. Visit them. Yes. Thank you so much for joining the show. Tell everyone out there where they can find you.
My websites are Shadley, Shadley, Grei, Grei.com. Grey Matter is my business, GreiMatter.com is where I ghostwrite, and my publishing company is Kingbird Press. So that's kingbirdpress.com. I mostly publish business books. I just published an amazing memoir. And I have a couple more books coming out this year. I'm working on my second novel, so we'll see.
Nice. Okay. Well, we'll have to have you back with the soundtrack to that one when that comes out. But
yes.
The one that's out now, Before Closure, go check it out. Again, I loved it and really enjoyed. Just really enjoyed it beginning to end, and glad we got to connect and talk about it. For all the listeners out there, go to my.superawesomenmix.com and make your own super awesome mix today, or listen to this one. We'll post a link to how you can access that via the app, and check us out on social media at Super Awesome Mix. But we'll get to work on some more mixtapes. So for Shadley, this is Matt, and we'll see you next time.